Do you sometimes feel forgotten by the Lord? Do you think the God who numbers every hair on our heads is somehow overlooking you? It may be easy in these times to think Jesus is not remembering you. Take a few minutes to hear Arnie's story and be encouraged. Crisp leaves skittered across the empty street. Arnie shuffled down the sidewalk, conscious of his shoes' loose sole flapping repeatedly each time he lifted his foot to take a step. He held his jacket collar tightly closed to block the wind. The temperature would likely dip below freezing tonight. He guessed it might already be there. He knew he should keep moving, but took advantage of the bus stop with its bench sheltered by 3 walls and a roof. He could rest here at 13th and Logan for a few minutes before continuing what would feel like an interminably long trek to the men's shelter at 26th and Campbell. The day had been a rough one. The docks had little work to offer due to the intermittent freezing rain that had plagued the early part of the day. The cold front had moved in quickly. Arnie closed his eyes and leaned against the back wall of the enclosure. He shoved his hands into his jacket pockets to keep them warm, fingering the small silver cross he had been given by a shelter volunteer. God does not forget his own, the man had said when he handed the cross to Arnie. Forgotten and alone. That pretty much sums up my life, thought Arnie. For a moment he thought of his pre-street life, which seemed so long ago, almost as if it had been someone else's life. Jesus, do you even remember me? He muttered softly. Then he stood up to resume his journey. He had taken only a few steps when he heard someone call,
"Wait!"
Arnie looked up and saw a man crossing the street toward him. The man explained,
"Look, I don't want to insult you or anything, but I was headed to Goodwill with this coat, and well, you look like you could use a warm coat."
Arnie eyed the wool but hesitated to touch it.
"I'm serious,"
the man went on.
"Please, take it."
Arnie looked at the man with gratitude in his eyes. "Mister, this will sure make my walk to the shelter a lot easier. I thank you. God bless you." The man thought for a moment and decided he felt perfectly comfortable with offering Arnie a ride to the shelter.
"My car is parked across the street. You don't have to walk. I will take you to the shelter."
On the drive, they talked of life and the way its challenges can overtake us, about what gives us the courage to go on, to keep trying. This stranger seemed to understand life, and talking with him made Arnie feel hopeful, encouraged. It made him feel seen. The car pulled up to the shelter. As Arnie opened his door, his benefactor said,
"I'll be praying for you, friend."
Arnie walked into the shelter, and as he signed in at the counter, he prayed a little prayer of thanks that Jesus had remembered him.